Hey there YouTube, this is Artichoke Dip, and I decided with this video to do something a little bit different than I normally do. And before I get into the actual solo play of Runequest, when I received this book on a cold Tuesday evening after work, I sat down in my game room and I read the history. And it really set my imagination ablaze. And I hope it does the same for you. I thought I would make this short video and to explain the history of Gloranthia and the game system Runequest. Gloranthia was created by its deities from the primal void of chaos. At first there was no history, for the initial creation formed the period of magic and timelessness simultaneously called God Time. During this time, all of the world was populated with the beings and races of the Golden Age. The birth into this world of Umath, the primal air, shattered the period of peace and crowding, confusion, and fear. This escalated into the war of the gods, resulting in the death of the sun. The great darkness and chaos let loose upon the world. Total destruction seemed near. But Gloranthia was not destroyed. Spurred on by hope and chance, the seven Lightbringers sought through the chaos-ridden cosmos, and after harrowing adventures, liberated the life-giving sun god. The joyful god leapt to his rightful place in the sky, and the dark was banished. To keep entropic chaos from coming to their realm again, the gods swore great oaths and compacts, resulting in the Great Compromise. Men called this time. By altering the world, the gods saved it, and history began. There followed the Dawn Ages. This was a time of peace and growing. As the survivors rebuilt and taught themselves the way of the world inside time, the ancient races, elves, dragonutes, dwarves, and trolls, were as healthy and proud as humans. In Dragon Pass on the continent of Genrelta, the first council was a balanced organization including humans and non-humans, men and women, mortals and divinities. The age of innocence could not last so. Ancient feuds were remembered and conflicts grew with peoples outside the council. Inside, dissension and outside enemies forced the formation of the Second Council, a warlike empire which grew in arrogance and power until they dreamed of bringing back the god Time. The experiment ended in the birth of Jabaji, the chaos god, whose reign of terror kept Gloranthia at war with itself for 75 years. This was the death knell of the inhuman races, which have never had the same stature in the world since then. This was the end of the Dawn Ages. Out of this shattered world grew new political entities. Among the most powerful was a state which called itself the Empire of the Worm's Friends. The empire, centered in Dragon Pass, lasted for 500 years, proud of and famous for their friendship with the dragons and worms of the past. The peoples and places thrived, made their contact with 2 other continents, and delved deep into spiritual byways. After several hundred years, the empire was replaced by a ruling body of men and gods called the Third Council. Legend relate, and there was no telling, the men from the gods in the council chambers. But the magic of the council could not counter the miseries of its worshippers, or control the swords of the rebels who did not sacrifice to them. Foreign gods gained power and prestige as the provinces of the Third Council revolted or were overrun by invaders. At last, the council turned its energies to defending its worshippers. Epic battles raged across the land. Finally, the Dragonutes, dormant for centuries, rose against the council and slew them all. Some 78 years later, the human allies, aiding the destruction of the empire, turned against the Dragonutes. With few allies, they seemed helpless before the destroying might of the hordes. Nests were scored with wildfire, planted with seeds, laid by chaotic parasites, sealed by disease unnameable, and cured by fear and loathing for any that would mourn them. Heartless and relentless, the humans crushed and plundered. But when they closed in upon Dragon Pass, the assembled human armies met those who would mourn the loss of Dragonutes. The dragons from all across time and space assembled in their astral home to preserve the purity of their birthplace. The Dragon Kill War got its name from what the dragons did, not what they suffered. Humans have feared the dragons since that time, despite draconic indifference, and now seek to smash the eggs of the Dragonutes, even though they might plunder the nest city. Dragon Pass was abandoned by humanity. Elsewhere, old empires shook and seas were utterly closed to human crossings. New kingdoms rose to fill the power vacuums, and new magics and deities broke free from the ancient shackles. North of Dragon Pass, in the region called Peloria, there arose the Red Moon Goddess. In her were balance, consistency, and change, life and death, love and indifference, and all that of the universe, including a touch of chaos. Her arrival changed the face of the land. After leaving in Gloranthia a short time, she ascended to the heavens, where she remained in her cynical beauty, viewing the land which she left to her family below. The ever-reincarnating Red Emperor of the Lunar Empire, and her son and her pride. The Lunar Empire expanded from its founding in 1220. When defeated, its rebound stronger than ever. They went north to the icy wastes, east to the bounds of the Horse barbarian lands, and west until they were halted by the magical syndicates. But in the south, the empire continued to grow and grow. When they reached Dragon Pass, they found it populated again. Moreover, it was owned by the kingdom of Satar, ruled by a wise dynasty, cautious to maintain the great and magical laws which gave it its strength. Despite initial defeats, the emperor eventually marched almost unhindered into Satar's capital of Boldholm. He defiled the temple of Satyr and ravaged the city. So far, it was a typical lunar conquest, but the spirits of Satyr Temple incited the natives to rebellion. When the lunar priestess attempted to construct a temple of the reaching moon on Windtop to extend the glow line, a dragon honored itself under the foundation, devouring the priestess there and half of the attendant armies. Shortly afterward, rebellion in the outpost city of Pavis spelled lunar defeat, and the victorious barbarian warlord led his army towards Dragon Pass. The warlord was Aragoth, Dragontooth, member of a minor Satyr household and refugee from lunar justice. He had grown famous amongst the tribes of Prax and now claimed heirdom to Satyr's realm. He defeated lunar forces in a military victory and relit the fire of Satyr's temple with a command. Thus, the entire empire was thrown back again. The bravery and glory of the Satyrs' fight for independence attracted thousands of volunteers, and people from all over Gloranthia became adventurers in order to build up their skills to take to their places in the ranks. The period was known as the Hero Wars, and the fighting around Dragon Pass drew the greatest collection of heroes and superheroes the world had ever seen in one place. This is the game of that period. In these pages, one learns how to start to become a hero to take one's place in the Hero Wars.